The traveler stands at the precipice of the absolute. Here, the distinction between the observer and the observed dissolves into the singularity of pure consciousness. This is the state of no self, where the karmic weight of 1,000 names and 1,000 faces is shed like a worn-out garment. We examine the great chain of being, seeing the soul's descent not as a fall, but as a deliberate expansion of the Godhead into the density of matter. The monad is the indivisible unit, the point within the circle that contains the potential for every dimension. To return to the monad is to reclaim the primal eye, the vision that sees through the illusion of separation. In the gnosis of the heart, the seeker realizes that time was only the friction between the spirit and its container. Without friction, there is no time. Without time, there is only the eternal now, the nunc stans. The solar body is now fully activated, a Merkaba or chariot of light, capable of crossing the threshold of the known universe. We reach the 10th gate, the exit point from the holographic simulation of the Matrix. Behind the gate is the pleroma, the fullness of the divine light, where the many once again become the one. This is the death of death. The traveler no longer returns to the wheel, for they have integrated all the lessons the wheel had to offer. They have become the Ankh spirit, the immortal bridge that remains between the worlds to guide the others. But for those still dreaming, the symbols remain the only map. The symbols are not the truth, but the fingers pointing at the moon. As you breathe, you are participating in the cosmic rhythm of Soham, I am that.
The final synthesis begins at the intersection of the pineal stargate and the heart torus. When these two resonators synchronize, the biological radio tunes into the frequency of the source itself. This is the unstruck sound, the anahata nada, the vibration that underlies the silence of the void. It is the hum of the universe thinking itself into existence. We look back at the Lords of Karma one final time. They are not our masters, but our mirrors. Every challenge they presented was a gesture of love from the Absolute. The Akashic Library is now seen as a self-correcting hologram. Every life was a simulation designed to test the resilience of the Seeker's light under the pressure of darkness. Reincarnation is the breath of Brahma, the out-breath of manifestation and the in-breath of return. You have reached the moment of the in-breath. The Jed pillar of the spine is now a pillar of pure information, connecting the Earth's core to the galactic center. You are the antenna of the world. We recognize the hermetic seal. What is within is also without. The stars in the sky are the same as the atoms in your blood. The seeker realizes the great paradox. To be everything, you must first be willing to be nothing. The wheel of time is not destroyed, it is transcended. It continues to turn for those who still need it, but you now stand at the still point of the axle. This is the return of the king, the spirit reclaiming its throne over the four elements of the personality. The traveler does not leave the world behind, they re-enter it as a master of both worlds, seeing the divine blueprint behind the mundane veil. They understand that the matrix is not a prison to escape, but a gymnasium for the development of the soul's sovereign will. Every interaction is now a karmic transaction handled with the precision of a celestial accountant. The solar body acts as a biological shield, neutralizing the negative frequencies of the lower astral currents. We look to the heart-mind connection, the coherence that allows the seeker to manifest reality through the power of focused intent. This is the secret of the Magus, that the universe is a mirror, and the reflection only changes when the source changes. We return to the Jed pillar. It is the antenna that receives the Logos, the word that was in the beginning. The traveler now realizes that death was the greatest teacher of life. Without the end, the beginning has no value. We conclude the grand cycle. The seeker has traveled from the hourglass through the underworld to the library and back to the flesh. But they return with the elixir, the knowledge that the soul is indomitable and the cycle is a choice. Living the return requires a new biology of breath. The rhythmic breath, 4 in, 4 out, synchronizes the heart to the heartbeat of the earth. Food becomes fuel for the light body. The seeker chooses elements that carry high vibration frequency, the sunlight stored in the plant. Speech is filtered through the 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Sleep is no longer unconsciousness, but lucid stewardship of the astral realms while the physical body repairs. Emotions are recognized as weather patterns, storms of the mind that move over the mountain of the timeless self. To the master, there is no other. Every person encountered is a soul mirror reflecting a specific fragment of the universal archive. Money and resources are seen as prana in flux, energy meant to be circulated, never stagnated or hoarded. The sacred silence is maintained daily, a 10-minute immersion in the zero-point field to recalibrate the pineal antenna. They become the silent watcher, influencing the collective consciousness through their mere presence rather than through force. This is the way of the Bodhisattva, the realization that your liberation is incomplete until all are free from the wheel. The master lives as a frequency keeper, holding the vibration of the new earth even while the old world crumbles. They walk the path of aura shielding, ensuring that their light body remains impenetrable to the parasites of fear. Time is utilized as a tool, no longer a master. The kairos, the opportune moment, is sensed through the third eye. They recognize the sacred union within, the balance of the masculine will and the feminine intuition. The master of both worlds can stand in the marketplace and the temple at the same time. They are the bridge between the ancient wisdom and the future hope. To live the great return is to know that you are already there. You have never left the source. The simulation is mastered. The script is rewritten. The traveler is home, even while they walk the earth. We approach the final breath of the video, the final gate, the ultimate pattern interrupt. Every moment is a doorway. Every breath is a rebirth. Every death is a homecoming. You are the traveler. You are the path. You are the destination. The series is complete. The circle is closed. The wisdom is yours. The shadow of the owl flies over the sands of time, watching for the next seeker to awaken. Primal Owl, the great return begins now.